It's really the ultimate clinical dilemma in hematology, isn't it? How exactly do we go in and destroy a malignant cancer cell without absolutely devastating the perfectly healthy cells sitting right next to it? It's a massive challenge for us, especially considering that tumor cells look and behave so incredibly much like our own normal tissues.
Well, it turns out the answer doesn't actually lie in creating completely alien chemicals from scratch. Instead, it's all about bioengineering our immune system's very own naturally occurring biochemical tracking devices. We're talking, of course, about monoclonal antibodies, basically the ultimate biochemical homing beacons. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a high-speed micro to macro journey into monoclonal antibody biochemistry. We're going to break down exactly how molecular form dictates clinical function in these revolutionary targeted therapies. Because let's face it, understanding this biochemistry isn't just for researchers in a lab. It is literally the key to understanding how we're going to cure disease in the future. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. The antibody anatomy. 2. Biochemistry of target binding. 3. The complement cascade weapon. 4. Monoclonal therapy in action. And 5. Engineering next-gen antibodies. Section 1. The antibody anatomy, dissecting the Y shape. Before we can even think about bioengineering a drug, we've got to look at the natural factories, right? The plasma cells. These cells have a really characteristic shape. You've got that eccentric, pushed off to the side, round nucleus, and a deep blue staining in the cytoplasm that screams intense protein production. These cells naturally synthesize massive amounts of complex proteins called immunoglobulins. And in modern medicine, we essentially hijack this precise biological production line. So let's break down what those factories are actually building. The fundamental biochemical anatomy of an immunoglobulin is just beautifully elegant. It's this basic Y-shaped structure built from 4 distinct pieces. You have 2 heavy chains, for example, the gamma chain in IgG, and you've got 2 light chains, which are either kappa or lambda. These are all linked together through molecular bonds to form that highly recognizable Y shape. It provides a stable, yet surprisingly flexible scaffold. Now, our bodies make several different classes of immunoglobulins, IgA, IgM, and so on. But IgG, that makes up about 80% of our normal serum immunoglobulin. Crucially, it also very efficiently fixes complement, which is a major immune response trigger. Because of its sheer abundance in the human body, its incredibly long half-life, and its lethal efficiency, IgG serves as our absolute primary template for designing these life-saving monoclonal therapies. Section 2. Biochemistry of target binding, Fab and Fc fragments. When exposed to an enzyme called papain, the antibody molecule is cleanly cleaved into 2 distinct, highly specialized operational regions. It's a brilliant functional division. On one side, we have the variable region, or the Fab fragment. You can think of this as the custom-fit lock. It contains the specific antigen binding site that perfectly matches a unique target on a cancer cell. On the other side is the constant region, or Fc fragment. Think of this as the distress flare. Once that Fab lock finds and binds to its target, the Fc flare goes up. And that flare is vital because it calls in passing macrophages and alerts the entire complement system to bring the heavy artillery right to the tumor's doorstep. Section 3. The complement cascade weapon, triggering the membrane attack complex. Okay, let's look at what actually happens when that biochemical distress flare gets fired. Once an IgG antibody coats a target cell, a physical targeting process we call opsonization, a rapid cascading chain reaction begins. It's exactly like a biochemical domino effect. Step 1. The C1q protein physically binds to that Fc domain of the antibody. Step 2. This kicks off a chain reaction that forms an enzyme called C3 convertase, which rapidly cleaves or cuts apart the C3 and C5 proteins. Step 3. This continuous molecular splitting converges to initiate our final weapon. And the crucial point here is that spectacular end result. All of that dense domino effect biochemistry terminates in what we call the membrane attack complex, or MAC, and it acts exactly as it sounds. The MAC physically inserts itself into the outer membrane of the targeted tumor cell and just violently bursts it open. It is total macro-level destruction happening invisibly on a microscopic scale, completely obliterating the malignant cell.
Section 4. Monoclonal therapy in action, targeted cellular destruction.
Let's zoom out for a second and look at 3 distinct examples of how we manipulate this exact biochemistry in the clinic to treat hematological cancers. Treat these as 3 separate mini-stories of bioengineering. First up, Rituximab. It selectively targets the CD20 antigen found on B cells, mediating cell death primarily through direct apoptosis, basically forcing the cell to self-destruct, and opsonization. Next, Alemtuzumab. This drug targets CD52 and relies heavily on that exact complement fixation cascade we just discussed to forcefully lyse or pop the cell. And finally, Gemtuzumab osagamicin, targeting CD33. This one is incredibly clever. It operates like a microscopic Trojan horse. It uses the antibody simply as a highly precise delivery vehicle, carrying a lethal cytotoxin payload directly into the heart of a myeloid leukemia cell without spilling a drop of it on the healthy cells nearby.
But bioengineering didn't just stop at modifying single antibodies. Take a look at bispecific antibodies, like Blinatumomab. We have literally engineered a specialized antibody that acts as a physical bridge. One arm binds directly to the B cell tumor, and the other arm binds to a CD3 receptor on a killer T cell. So it's physically dragging the immune system's ultimate executioner right up against the cancer cell. No escape. Section 5. Engineering next-gen antibodies. The CAR-T revolution. This is the absolute climax of hematological bioengineering, where antibody biochemistry literally fuses with live cellular therapy. A chimeric antigen receptor, or CAR, is a radically bioengineered receptor. To get this into a patient, we use retroviral vectors, essentially hollowed-out viruses that act as microscopic delivery trucks to safely insert a new gene into a patient's own harvested T cells. This artificial construct brilliantly combines the extreme antigen-targeting specificity of a monoclonal antibody with the raw, self-replicating killing power of a live T cell. To pull this off, we hijack the antibody's Fab region. Remember that custom fit lock from earlier? We chemically isolate those precise antigen binding capabilities into what's called a single-chain variable fragment, or scFv. This fragment is then genetically grafted right onto the exterior of the T cell. What we've done is give the patient's own immune cells a hyperlethal, inescapable homing device for cancer. The clinical workflow here is nothing short of science fiction-made reality. First, we harvest the patient's own circulating T cells. Next, we insert the specialized gene for the CAR. Then comes the critical expansion phase. We grow millions upon millions of these newly minted super soldiers in a lab, multiplying them into an overwhelming biological army. And finally, we infuse them right back into the patient, where they autonomously hunt down specific targets, like the CD19 antigen on a relapsed B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia. We are quite literally reprogramming biology to cure the incurable. Which leaves us with this final thought. We've gone from simply observing the basic Y shape of an antibody to mapping out its explosive complement cascades, to literally cutting and pasting its chemical homing domains onto live killer T cells. Now that we have the awesome power to bioengineer the exact biochemical receptors of our immune system, what incurable disease are we going to conquer next? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning.